So what's your favorite theme to work with?
I think that, oh gosh, I think it's evolved over the years. I went through a phase where I really enjoyed doing portraiture. I think it's actually very useful to do portraiture no matter what level you're on, because with portraiture, you're forced to look at your reference and have to measure, and you've got like a living example of what your work should look like. For anybody, it doesn't matter if you don't get it right first time. It's actually every step, every time you do it, you're learning. Then I was like into quite a lot of like fashion inspired, which I still enjoy. I do still enjoy that. So that kind of a thing. It's fancy, but it's sort of inspired by fashion. So this is also another like fashion inspired one.
So was it that you were wanting to get into costume designing that kind of inspired the fashion inspiration?
Loved fashion. I just love looking at it. I think especially like the runway fantasy anyway, isn't it?
It was like, even take that dress. Now that was basically where you created the material that really went on her through your texture.
Because that took me about 3 days just to apply every one of those tiny little pearls that are made out of clay, roll each tiny one and stick it on, and the next one. But I also as you get older, your eyes are not like what they used to be.
Oh, I'll never admit to that. Not at all.
Well, I mean, I use my glasses and I use my headset as well. I've got like one of these headsets with the magnifier on it.
Yeah, because do you find that working with natural daylight is better for working with your dolls than artificial lighting?
Especially painting, not so much as sculpture. Sculpture's all right because shadows can actually be helpful. See, but like when it comes to painting, then yeah, definitely natural. And then you think you've done a good job, and then the next day you look at it and you think, oh my goodness, you've got to redo it.
Which is true. And that's one of the tips, was to say, take plenty of breaks. And it's like, no, you're into this. You can't take a break. But I come back and I like, oh my gosh, I did that.
Your brain, that is absolutely true. Sometimes I actually work on a few at a time. I mean, I've got 3 heads on the go at the moment. This is the first one I'm finishing now, but I've got another 2. And I keep going. And that actually is detrimental, because if you do walk away, even just 20 minutes away, it's like your brain has corrected what you've done, is to use a mirror. Because when you think you've got to the point where you're like, this face is looking fine, you put it in front of the mirror and you realize that one half is not the same as the other.
How do you look at a doll to decide if it's correct in the mirror?
It's mostly for symmetry. So if you find that one side of the head, the face is just not quite this, does not line up with the other side, it can really show you, like for example, sides of the mouth. You can see if one side can be so subtly like lower than the other, and you've got to fix. So you just pick the side you like best. Especially if I'm doing eyes that look to the side, I try not to turn them to the side until I've got a lot of the face done, because for some reason the eyes are looking to the side, my whole face starts working.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Left-handed.
As a right-handed person, you find that the left side of the face is easier to do. So do you find that you're easy to work on the right side of the face easier?
No, the left side kind of moves.
Exactly.
I keep the eyes looking straight for as long as possible. And I also take tiny pieces, clay, take one piece, divide it in half so you've got 2 equal parts, and add them at the same time. One side of your face gets built up, and the other, you don't know how many pieces you added, and then you got to try and match the other side. No, rather just do it at the same time on both sides.
What do you feel like is your favorite tool that you like to work with?
Favorite tools, I've had them from the beginning. I don't know, I think I call them dentist tools. I don't know if someone once said that. I don't know if they're like soap sculpture or something, I'm not sure, but they're just metal. I've had them from the beginning, from the absolute beginning, and I just tape them. One of the tips was tape it with masking tape, so that you don't sometimes metal can have like a residue and it can kind of come off on your clay and make it a bit gray.
Okay.
So, it doesn't do it while you're using it, but I think it's maybe if your fingers have got maybe got the residue on or something. Anyway, so I always tape them with masking tape.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah, I guess the other ones that I use a lot are the ball tools, which come in. I mean, these are the first ones I bought, which were, for clay, but you can get these ones that you can get with any nail art brush sets. So you can get
the stylus.
That's right, stylus, yes. You can get them very cheap in the nail art brushes, which I use all the time as well. And also in the nail art brushes, you get these little pointy tools. I don't know what they're used for, but they're very, very useful for us for, like, you know, round eyes and things like that in very tiny areas.
So what are you working on right now then? You said you've got a couple heads that you're doing?
Yes, I've got a few heads actually. They're not unfinished it.
So now what type of paint do you use for your characters?
Genesis paint. It's the best. It paints. A lot of people do use acrylic paints, and I'm doing some tests at the moment to see, because I've never used acrylic paint. In my experience, a lot of people do use acrylics, but in my experience, it can make acrylics go a bit sticky. And I have read that it's something to do with the plasticizers in it. So it would be worth trying it again and just seeing, because you can get some beautiful effects with acrylic. I have done some painting on resin, you know, repaints of resin head. Should never be offended, or at least maybe be offended for 5 seconds and then sort of think about what they're saying, because it's a gift. When people are honestly critical, not like mean, you know, when someone gives you an honest criticism, it's very helpful. And the person who I sold this to said to me, her nose is too big. And I mean, I was like, oh, and, you know, hurt feelings. But then I thought about it and thought, yes, her nose is too big. It's actually true. And then it draws your attention to that thing. And I started being very aware of that. And then, you know, it helps you kind of do better in the future. Yeah. So that was one of my first as well. These are ones that I really enjoy doing, and I would love to do more actually. This was called a duet. So I painted the back. So it's like, you know, picture and that was their face. So that was a few years ago as well that I did that one. Oh, this was another fashion one. So that was another fashion kind of inspired one that I
And
did.
so you painted the fabric then on that one. Okay.
Yeah. So it's got fabric on the bottoms of the sleeves, but everything else is clay. That was one of the ones that took ages to do it, but I really enjoyed doing it, and I really would. There's not enough time, is there? Because there's so
No,
many
there
things.
isn't. And you know, when you say you enjoy doing it, it really is because our dolls take us on an adventure when we create
Yeah.
them. I mean, that's the stuff that inspires me, because porcelain dolls, I probably you have to create all of that, but in a different way.
Yeah.
That you guys really do capture a moment in time with your creations.
Yeah, that's
Beautiful.
it. That's exactly it. That's what's fun about it, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it has been. I am. I kind of want to move. I'm kind of moving the other way at the moment. I'm feeling like I want to go larger. I want to do more sort of. I don't know. I want to do it all. So that's the
Oh,
problem.
yeah, tell me about it.
True as well. Although I do get frustrated when it takes a hell of a long time.
Well,
Yeah.
and we as artists, we just have to know we're never ever going to make our time back in money wise for adults. That it just isn't. And that's
No.
probably the reason why I focus on the fact that the joy of what they shared with me is more important than the cost of what the doll is, because you can't buy it. You know, you can't buy my experience that I did with creating that. But
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like that, but I think you have to have a balance, don't you, between the two, because the problem is you have to make money.
and you can't undersell yourself. You can't
No.
say, well, yeah,
Yeah.
because there is a level of saying, yes, this is what it is worth.
Yeah.
And don't be ashamed of asking for it.
Yeah, exactly. And that is something that I still battle with. But the problem is, if you don't, you it really it doesn't make you inspired. You know, you really
Yeah.
have to feel like you've been, like, what you've done has
It's an
been appreciated.
exchange. As I tell my
Yeah,
kids, money is really only an exchange of energy. So if I put this
yeah,
much energy to a doll, you should be able to put this much energy, because you can't make the doll, but you're exchanging your money for my energy. So
yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That is very true. So yeah, it
yeah.
is a kind of a balance, isn't it, between the
Mm-hmm.
two? Yeah,
Yeah, until the
yeah.
first person comes up and wants your doll for 1995 because they saw a porcelain doll at Walmart.
Oh, right. Yes. No.
It's like, no, it's not the same, dearie. Thank you very much for sharing with me. I really appreciate it. And it
It's
was
a
nice
pleasure.
meeting you.
Yes, you too. Very nice to meet you, and thank you. I'm very honored to be your first guest. So thank you very much.
We will talk again in the future.
Oh, yes, please. That would be great. Okay,
All right.
then. Thank you.